The ketamine must have been hitting a little soft spot at 3 a.m. in the morning because Trump's ex-boyfriend posted this tweet on X. I regret some of my posts about President at Real Donald Trump last week. They went too far. And so, I mean, I personally think that the whole thing that's going on in LA was to wag the dog again away from all of this stuff, because as we have talked about from before the election to now, Elon Musk and Donald Trump have done bad stuff together, and there is a mutually assured destruction. Trump flexing his arm with the military and going full authoritarian, and Elon sitting on the sidelines now and not sleeping at the White House with his ex-boyfriend, I'm sure is somewhat terrifying for him, especially if you're on drugs all the time. You're paranoid, delusional. And so I think this is a real interesting development in this, that the alpha male, big tough guy, now he's backing down.
I'm wondering if this is a temporary ceasefire between the two. I completely agree with you that there's mutually assured destruction between these two. But is it going to ramp back up? Because we know Trump said, I'm not interested in rekindling this relationship, but Trump loves nothing more for someone to come crawling back. So is Elon Musk going to crawl back, or are we going to go back to jabs against each other?
I mean, Pumps, you and I both know that somebody on drugs is going to be incapable of sustaining a cohesive thought, a cohesive mindset. And for sure, he's going to get wound up down a K-hole, and he is going to spill more. It's just inevitable. It's just a matter of when. But it will happen. And if he doesn't do it personally, he will have his little minions, his technological minions, leak this, and somehow, it be untraceable to whatever Twitter account it is, because there's just no way that these two really sick narcissists are going to be able to have a ceasefire. Another thing I just think is really important to point out, you've got Donald Trump, who has been widely reported wears a diaper, and he has bowel incontinence. Basically, that means shit his pants. Recently, there have been allegations on the internet that he is wearing a catheter. Okay, so he pisses his pants and he shits his pants. This is the president of the United States and the party that goes on and on about Biden being too old. And then you have Elon Musk, and it's been widely reported that he pees his pants all the time because of massive ketamine abuse, which one of the side effects of that is it just rips your bladder up. So on top of all of the evil stuff that they're doing, that is just, it's unconscionable to think about, all of the destruction of the federal government, just from a petty point of view, these people piss and shit their pants. You know what I mean? And it's just another component to the areas of incompetence and incontinence these people have, on top of all the other stuff. They can't keep their piss and shit in their pants before they make it to the toilet. That's how bad these guys fail at everything.
I shouldn't be laughing, because it is so serious that the president of the United States, not only is he slurring around and can't talk, talks on a fifth grade level, has no idea what's going on in the White House, he's shitting and peeing his pants. And the person he put in charge of the government that now he's acknowledging is a drug addict, but that was fine when he was giving him hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, it's a clown show, but that's an understatement.
And there's another, it gets worse from their Pumps. Apparently he wears these, have you noticed how he drags his foot?
Yes.
Which apparently is like one of the symptoms of dementia. Your feet, drag. And so there's this one image where some internet sleuths have found that he probably wears these like leg braces. And so why he's dragging his foot like that is because he has these leg braces on. So barely they've got this guy like Frankenstein together. I mean, it truly is a Weekend at Bernie's type situation. We've got Pampers, Depends, catheters, leg braces. Elon Musk is over there pissing his pants. They're fighting on the internet. Meanwhile, next up is Trump likes to fight semantics. And somebody is losing a battle if you've ever been in a personal argument with somebody, and they get wound up over these little tiny details. So basically, Gavin Newsom said, Trump hasn't, I didn't talk to Trump yesterday, whatever the allegation was. Well, Trump comes out with a screenshot, and it was actually 3 days prior. So Fox has been editing the statements of Trump and Gavin Newsom to try, like, this is their big point. Instead of talking about all of the evil, horrible things these people are doing, in the right wing, everybody's taking the bait and going all in on this stupid phone call thing, which is a nothing burger to end all nothing burgers because Trump doesn't know what day it is. Pop this up. So he puts this out, and I just want to note it. I want to note the timestamp again. You know, Elon Musk timestamp for he's regrets some of the things he said about Trump was 3 a.m. Trump's calling Gavin at 1:23 a.m., and that's probably in Washington. So it's 11:23 for Gavin, but it was 3 days prior than what Trump thought it was. To me, this is a nothing burger. This is a sideshow. This is a distraction. This is the semantics that broken people cling on to when they're losing an argument.
I love that all the Fox News is going so hard on this because Gavin Newsom said, I didn't talk to him on Sunday. I talked to him for about 20 minutes, which it says 17. On Friday night, he was super nice and didn't bring up the LA riots. But God forbid we report the facts, particularly on the Fox propaganda network. But I just want to say how stunning it is that the president of the United States is screenshotting his phone and posting it on social media. I mean, it is the bottom feeder parade over there in Washington, D.C.
Well, and this is, think about in your personal life when you're fighting with somebody and they're losing the argument. They want to get involved in the semantics. Well, you didn't say it like this. Your tone was like that.
Right.
Or it was at 11 and not 11:15. These are the signs that somebody is losing an argument because Trump and his sycophants picked a fight with a guy who, no question, has had some flaws. Gavin Newsom has. But he's putting on a master class right now as to how to take on Trump immediately. Immediately start calling him out, calling them liars, the attack on democracy, telling everybody exactly what they're saying. And Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries should sit and take notes because the American public is so desperate for somebody in a leadership position to fight for our country. The reason that all of this stuff is going on in Los Angeles is because they are doing evil stuff. When you see provocative actions where they are ripping mothers away from their children, and when normal, decent people with moral compass see injustice, they stand up and they fight for it. And that's what's going on in LA. People are fighting against injustice. Fox News wants to show you a couple of bad actors, and this happens in every protest everywhere in the history of everything. You always have peaceful protests where people are standing up against injustice because they're decent, good people. And there's about 5 people that go off the rails. Well, Fox News is just myopically focusing on those 5 when the rest of them are literally chanting, fighting for humanity, fighting for the United States of America, fighting against fascism. And this is the fight of our lives right now. Every other generation before us in the United States has risen and fought this off. And our generation and the generation above us and below us all need to band together because this is serious. This is as serious as it gets. They want to talk about phone calls. They want to do all of this crazy stuff. But here's what Gavin Newsom is having to say about all of this. Play the clip.
This isn't just about protests here in Los Angeles. When Donald Trump sought blanket authority to commandeer the National Guard, he made that order apply to every state in this nation. This is about all of us. This is about you. California may be first, but it clearly will not end here. Other states are next. Democracy is next. Democracy is under assault before our eyes. This moment we have feared has arrived. He's taking a wrecking ball to our founding fathers' historic project. 3 co-equal branches of independent government. There are no longer any checks and balances. Congress is nowhere to be found. Speaker Johnson has completely abdicated that responsibility. The rule of law has increasingly been given way to the rule of Don. The founding fathers, they didn't live and die to see this kind of moment. It's time for all of us to stand up. Justice Brandeis, he said it best. In a democracy, the most important office, with all due respect, Mr. President, is not the presidency. And it's certainly not governor. The most important office is office of citizen. At this moment, we all need to stand up and be held to account, a higher level of accountability. If you exercise your First Amendment rights, please do it peacefully. I know many of you are feeling deep anxiety, stress, and fear, but I want you to know that you are the antidote to that fear and that anxiety. What Donald Trump wants most is your fealty, your silence to be complicit in this moment. Do not give in to him.
Okay, I think this is excellent. All of us right now have been living since January 20th, have been living in Trump's America, and there has been mixed messaging. It's been so anxiety inducing, fear inducing. I know a lot of you, like Pumps and I do, you might wake up in the middle of the night and think, God, what is happening to our country? The instability is a dark cloud that kind of hovers over every American's shoulders. When you see injustice and when you see people breaking the law, you feel it. And we all know our country has flaws, but we all know it's ours. And we all know we want to fight for it. And Gavin Newsom, I've had some issues with, but he's willing to stand up, called out Mike Johnson, calling on the people to not give up, to not back down. And this military parade is coming. And he is escalating all across the board. He has his right-wing media ecosystem, which exaggerates his support. Right. MAGA support has been grossly exaggerated. You don't see the numbers at Trump rallies, and he has to have, the military that's all been hand-selected and curated to cheer for him in speeches. You don't see tens of thousands of people go march for him. You only see tens of thousands of people march against him and for democracy. In America, this is a moment, and there are going to be protests all over the country on June 14th, and we mustn't be scared, and we must rise like every other generation before us have. And I remember when I was a little girl, and I remember watching the civil rights movement, and I remember my teacher playing videos of Black people and white people spitting on them, beating them up, calling them the N-word, disgraceful, horrible, injustice. And when you see injustice, you have to stand up and fight for justice. And so I ask every American watching this show right now, are you going to be the asshole that's like in the 1960s that spit on a little girl that's trying to walk in to just go to school? Are you going to be the person that's so triggered by that? Are you the person that's so triggered by the fact that maybe a few million people live here peacefully, work hard, pay into taxes, don't get Social Security, don't get Medicare? Are you going to be so triggered by that because you hate people with brown skin so much? Are you going to be a real Christian like you say you are and fight for humanity and fight for democracy and fight against injustice? This is utter insanity. It's just insanity how disgusting millions of Americans are. Millions of Americans have such a deep moral flaw, and they do it with impunity, and the media just sane washes over it, and it's abhorrent. This is the manifestation of decades of worshiping money and white powerful men. And it has all come to a conclusion with Donald Trump. And not only do we need to get him out of office, but we need to fix the moral fabric of this country because it is so deeply flawed. Deeply.
I guess I just didn't realize how much hatred fed people. They like hatred. They want to hate other people, the dehumanizing of people. Like I see how World War II started. I never did before until this movement. And I agree with Gavin Newsom. He has made these blanket orders about going into other states because there are so many protests planned. And I do not believe this will be the last invasion by the federal government into states in the next 7 days. And that makes me very, very nervous and have anxiety. But in my mind, this is just the beginning.
Oh, there is absolutely no question because he does not want to go to the midterms because they know they've already broken so many laws in these 140, 150 days. They know that they cannot have an election at the midterms or they are toast, and it is bracelets for every single one of them. And I hope that the Democratic Party this time around show some courage and are just assholes. I wish for once we could run as assholes for justice and call these evil, corrupt monsters out and take it all the way over the finish line instead of placating to these people, because they were placated to during the Biden administration, and look at where it got us. Look at where we are right now as a country. All right, that's all we have. Please order our book. The link is in our pinned in the comment section and in our bio, and we will see you all later.